A lot of Florida homeowners are struggling to pay their home insurance premiums as rates go through the roof.
The key factors causing the hikes when we go on the record about the insurance crisis.
From WPBF 25, this is On the Record with Todd McDermott and Nathalie Pozo.
Good morning. State lawmakers responding to Florida's property insurance crisis have tried several kinds of reforms and new laws to stabilize the market, but progress has been limited in providing real financial relief directly to homeowners facing those skyrocketing insurance premiums. So joining me now is Stacey Giulianti, Chief Legal Officer and co-founder of Florida Peninsula Insurance in Boca Raton. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start at the beginning here. What caused this crisis? I know the series of storms and then an exodus of companies, but what's at the root of the problem of what we're now facing?
The answer is that when there's not just one root, I think it's like a plant with a lot of roots, okay? You had Hurricane Irma, which was huge. You had Hurricane Ian in 2022. That year, half of all global insured losses were from that storm alone. It was the second costliest storm in the history of storms, and it actually surpassed the tsunami from Japan in 2011. I mean, that's how damaging it was. That caused a lot of prices to go up. Now, if you add to that the supply side problems you had from the pandemic, you have inflation, and not just inflation on everything. You had things like lumber prices go up 400%. Right? Insurance pays for real things, my mentor always told me. We pay for the flooring and the wallpaper and the roof. And when those go up that drastically, 200, 300, 400%, it has to come out in the insurance premiums, and that's what we saw at that time.
I'm going to let you talk once about your own company because you know what? You stayed. You are not new to Florida, and you were able to weather the storm, if you will, and survive this. How did you stick around when some others did not?
I think some of it is you have to be a little bit more conservative. Our company was always more conservative. We bought more reinsurance. We made good underwriting decisions. We handled our claims very well. When we started this, prior to that, I was a policyholder lawyer. I represented individuals who had issues with insurance companies, so I knew what the problems were. We brought in a small group of people to kind of found this company in 2004, and we made smart decisions, smart conservative decisions that allowed us not to raise rates all the time, but to be very slow and thoughtful. And some other companies jumped around a bit, and that caused them to lose customers, and ultimately they just didn't make the right financial decisions, and they went out of business.
Let's talk about rates because you've been able to roll back rates about 2%. Not every company is doing that. How were you able to achieve this? What are the factors that allowed you to do that?
Number one, you have to select good policies. So that means someone who keeps up their house well, and if you do keep up your house well and you've got a good roof and you keep debris out of your yard and things of that nature, insurance companies are going to look at you with a much better eye, right? We all want to have a good risk. It's the policyholders in general. It's their money that goes to pay these risks. So you want to be with a company that has good underwriting practices, that selects good people to be part of their company in terms of customers. And so we do that very well. We use a lot of data, a lot of new tech, and we've been doing that really for the past 10 years. We started 20 years ago, and again, we didn't try to raise our rates too high, but we didn't try to drop our rates to compete. If you keep them level, you're not going to get into the same kinds of problems that you normally get in if you jump all around.
And you are not a small company by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, by written premium, we're now at $1.2 billion a year, and by market share, we are the third largest carrier now. Florida Peninsula and Edison, those are our two carriers under the same umbrella. Total, we're the third largest, not including Citizens.
All right, now let's talk about the recent legislation. A lot of the focus at Tallahassee has been on attracting and keeping insurance companies in the state, as so many made an exodus. That appears to be working, is that right?
It is, and I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't want to say that everything is rosy. If we have a hurricane this year, right now we're in the middle of hurricane season. If we have a hurricane, that's obviously going to put things off. But I will say that what we've done is we've taken out some of the bad actors, the bad contractors, the bad public adjusters, the bad attorneys. There are good people in all of these professions, but there were some that were just abusing the system. And what we found is that every year we were paying $3 billion, the industry, in Florida alone, for these frivolous or unnecessary lawsuits. 71% of that money was going to the attorneys and not to the consumers. That's like a Category 3 hurricane hitting Florida every single year. If you have that, someone's got to pay for that. The policyholders have to pay for it. And that's how we ended up here in part.
Let me just ask you, do you believe that lower premiums are coming across the board?
I believe that lower rates are coming across the board. Now, when you say premium, Sometimes prices change. There's inflation. There's nothing an insurance company can do about inflation. There's nothing we can do when lumber prices go up. There's nothing we can do when the cost of roofing goes up, when labor goes up. But in terms of the actual rates that we're charging for the risk that we're having, you're going to see a lot of insurance companies either file for rate decreases or you're going to see them at a standalone. They're not going to increase.
Before I let you go, one step that a homeowner should be taking right now going into hurricane season when it comes to their insurance?
The number one thing, I'm religious about this, get flood insurance. 20% of flood claims happen in areas that the government say don't flood. I don't care. 20%. It could happen to you. Get flood insurance. It's not covered by your homeowner's policy. And if there's one thing you need to get, it's not super expensive when you add it to your regular homeowner's insurance premium. Get that flood insurance. There's a 30-day waiting period, so do it now.
All right, Stacey Giuliani, thank you so much.
Thank you.
More from your company coming up. When we continue on the record, my co-anchor Natalie Pozzo breaks down the challenges to getting your home insured.
Get into an Audi and go your own way. Find your way to exceptional offers during the Summer of Audi sales event at your local Audi dealer.
To everyone making time for life's best moments, let us celebrate with you.
In Wisconsin, we love celebrating together.
Big days or any other day.
So much.
From hot and juicy to ooey gooey.
To oh my word.
Oh my word.
Goobers!
Serving you a handcrafted meal that makes
Today.
Today, a little bit more special. That's what fills us up inside.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
Yeah.
It's time to step into kindergarten. Parents, the school district of Palm Beach County is now enrolling kindergarten students for next school year. We're ready to educate, affirm, and inspire your child in a nurturing learning environment. All incoming students receive a free kindergarten readiness kit to practice reading and math this summer. Register now at palmbeachschools.org/kindergarten.
The school district of Palm Beach County is your best choice.
For Florida homeowners, it's not a question of if, but when the next hurricane will come. No matter what Florida weather has in store, StormSmart has products that protect every opening of your home while improving the look, feel, and function. From durable aluminum shutters, high-impact windows and doors, to our innovative storm catcher screens, products that enhance the beauty of your home and keep your family safe. Because smart is complete hurricane protection, and smart is peace of mind. Call StormSmart today for your free in-home consultation.
As Floridians, we know storms are a part of life, and hurricane season is here. That's why it's so important to be prepared. At FPL, we're working every day year-round to get ready for storm season. And we want to make sure you're ready too. So develop a plan, stock up on supplies, and secure your home before severe weather hits. Visit fpl.com/storm for a storm guide and download our mobile app to get real-time updates. FPL, working for you every single day.
Get into an Audi and go your own way. Find your way to exceptional offers during the Summer of Audi sales event at your local Audi dealer.
You're watching On the Record on WPBF 25.
We are continuing our conversation this morning about the insurance crisis in Florida. And joining me now is Dulce Suarez-Resnick, the Vice President with Accentria Insurance. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Dulce. You have clients from Key West all the way to St. Augustine. So I want to jump right in because there is so much frustration surrounding insurance right now. I mean, Florida has triple the national average when it comes to insurance. So what do we want to tell people?
Well, we want them to have a little patience. Things are improving. There have been quite a few changes, and with the new carriers coming to town and with the legislative changes, you are starting to see that our carriers that are currently writing in the state of Florida who were closed to new business, they're starting to open up again. There have been 4 carriers that have filed for a rate reduction. We haven't seen that in 4 years. So everything seems to be trending in a positive direction. Now, there are still some frustrations because depending on the year of your home, depending on the age of your roof and the type of roof you have, you might run into some situations. We're seeing where some folks can't find insurance coverage, specifically windstorm coverage. And the reason for that is because even though your house qualifies and the year is right, you have a brand new roof and all the qualifications are there, your zip code is closed. So the company is not accepting policies in that specific zip code. We've seen folks along the water and that need a hurricane policy, and the only market for them is Citizens. But because of the new caps and coverage that maxes out at $700,000, folks in Broward, Palm Beach, and all the way up the coastline, even in the West Coast, can't find a windstorm policy if they need more than $700,000 in coverage. Miami-Dade and Monroe are up to $1 million.
My goodness. So I mean, is there a solution here? I mean, what do we tell people who are running into those problems, and what does that mean for you and your agents as well?
So when it comes to getting insurance coverage right now, you're looking at an affordability and availability issue. And what's the root cause right now for everyone that's feeling that frustration is the roofs, the age of the roof, the type of roofing material they have. If you have a roof that is a shingle roof, let's say, and it is at 15 years of age already, you're going to have to change that roof because no carrier will insure you other than Citizens. And Citizens has a rule that says that the roof must have at least 5 years of remaining useful life. 15 years on a shingle roof, you will not get 5 years out of it. So it's a very hard decision for some people. Do I change my roof so I can get insurance? Can I afford the insurance?
Right.
To begin with. So those are some of the things that people are seeing. So when we ask people, sit down and talk to your agent. What are the things that you can do to help reduce those premiums? And what are the things that maybe you could do to your home that helps you qualify for insurance?
Right. What is the current state of insurance right now in our market?
Well, right now, I have to say, going into hurricane season, that we are in a period where some companies aren't writing. So it gets very tricky. And what we're asking our customers to do is reach out to us now. Let's start talking about it early on in hurricane season, what we can do, what changes we can make to your existing policy. Those that are still looking for alternate coverages, try to do your searching or your shopping at least 90 days in advance.
I want to talk a little bit about condo insurance as well, because that's another one that we saw just insurance skyrocket when it came to the HOA fees.
Yes, insurance for condominium associations has pretty much increased 30 to 40% year over year. So if you do that calculation, it's 150% more today than it was 3 years ago, even 4 years ago. And it is really affecting the unit owners. We have seen that with the changes in the condo laws, due to the collapse of the Surfside building, there's a lot of changes coming. The big changes come now at the end of December of 2024. The new milestone inspection is required. The new structural integrity reserve study is required. For Miami-Dade and Broward County, they've been doing recertifications on their buildings since '75, but for Palm Beach County and the rest of the counties, this is a new situation for them. This is going to cause some additional costs for these associations. The cost of the reserve study is not inexpensive. The new inspections, you need engineers. It's not just a regular inspector. And there's a lot that goes into those requirements to making sure that the building is sound. And then whatever they find, they have to fix. So that's an additional expense. So I'm hoping that if everyone who's hearing us gets ready, starts working on what needs to be done, because the deadline is quickly approaching.
So what do we, I mean, is there a solution in sight? I know you said to be patient. What do we need to do? Do we need to sit down with lawmakers again? Do we need to reach out to, our local leaders? Because there's some people that feel they have to move out, because they just can't afford. You mentioned the condos. There's so many people that are on fixed incomes that they just say, I can't afford to live here anymore.
So the legislature has really done a lot. With the December 22 special session, started into motion a lot of the changes that will now affect us in January of 2025, and it's very positive. It's just that it takes about 18 months to get to where you see the impact on your premiums. Another thing is the MySafe Florida Home Program has been refunded for homeowners, another $200 million, so they can do their windows and their roofs. So we're talking about how roofs are an issue. Please sign up July 1st for
Yeah,
that.
because applications right now are closed, but
They're
it
closed.
reopens in July.
And there's a new pilot program for condominium associations. And I was part of a group that helped put that together. And now condominium associations, the older buildings that don't have impact glass, that don't have a brand new roof, they will be eligible for up to $175,000.
So you feel optimistic?
Oh,
Lisa,
very
you do?
optimistic.
Okay.
But not till 2025. And it depends on Mother Nature. So we have to be storm-free for the rest of the year.
We'll see then. Thank you so much for your time, and we're going to hold on to that optimism. And like you said, just be patient and try to get, I guess, through the rest of the year, right?
That's right.
All right. Thank
That's
you,
right.
Dulce, so much for your time. We
Thank you
appreciate
for
you
having
being
me.
here with us. Coming up, my co-anchor Todd McDermott talks to an expert about filing a claim.
After an extraordinary news-making year, thank you for making ABC's This Week America's #1 news and politics show on Sunday mornings.
It's so easy to get your windshield replaced using Safelite. Tell the people why you haven't done it already, my man. It started off as a chip and grew into a crack, and it just keeps going. So what do we do now? I went ahead and scheduled an appointment online at Safelite.com. Told them to meet us here at the beach.
Let's get started.
Oh, Safelite repair.
Safelite replace.
Schedule free mobile service at Safelite.com.
Safelite repair, Safelite replace.
Planet Oats so creamy and not watery like.
Exactly, and unsweetened, has 0 grams of sugar.
And don't forget, it's an excellent source of calcium. Wow, Planet Oat really has it all.
You guys are so right.
No, you are.
No, you are.
No, you are.
Yeah, you are.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Before choosing a firm for your injury case, there are things you need to know that I can't say on TV. For example, why do some firms recover more than others? There's a reason. And why there are many, many firms I'd never have represent my own family. I know the truth. That's why I've launched a dedicated site to share the truth about selecting your lawyer. Visit morgantruth.com to hear the secrets for yourself. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
Certain this is gonna work?
Nothing to it.
For Imprint certain?
Certainty matters. 4imprint is your home for promo gear to wow clients and inspire your team. Check out 4imprint.com.
For imprint, for certain.
I'm Jill Hazy.
And I'm Erin Burns.
We invite you to join us this Sunday for Total Retirement with Ernie Burns, where we'll discuss wealth management, estate planning, and more.
Ernie was named 2022's Forbes Best In-State Security Professional. You don't want to miss it.
WPBF 25 First Warning Weather, certified most accurate for 11 years.
Welcome back. Joining me now to go on the record, Scott Nathan, who is a senior field adjuster with Florida Peninsula Insurance. Scott, let's run through the basics first. Starting with, you have damage to your home. What do you do to start that process of filing a claim?
First thing you always want to do, depending upon what happened, if it's a fire, you want to obviously call the fire department. If it's water, you want to call a plumber. After that's done and the hazard has stopped, you can call your insurance company. They can provide people that can come out and help you so that you don't have any out-of-pocket expenses and you don't have to worry about finding contractors, because we have a list of vetted contractors that can help you.
All right, now, since we're talking about hurricane season, when it's storm damage, are there some particulars that we need to be aware of when we're dealing with storm damage and filing a claim?
Well, as far as storm damage goes, before the storm even starts, the best thing to do is take a look around the house. If you've got coconut palms, you definitely want to have those taken down, or have, not the palms, but
the coconuts.
The coconuts, yes. You want to have your coconuts cut down. If you have furniture around your yard, if you don't have anywhere to store it, you can always find a really good tree and wrap those around so that they're secure, they don't become projectiles. After the storm happens, if it's safe, obviously, sometimes limbs have fallen, sometimes there's downed wires. Once you know that the area is safe, you can walk around the house, assess if there's any damage. If you can see your roof, great. If not, I wouldn't suggest going up there. Have someone go up there, or you can call your insurance company and we can inspect that as well and get you started.
All right, that kind of covers a lot of what you probably should do. What's the timing of all this? You just right after the storm, you start assessing the damage yourself to make that call?
Yes, the best thing to do is always, sooner than later.
Okay.
So you definitely don't want to wait, because obviously in a storm situation, there's a lot of claims coming through. Longer you wait, longer it'll take. So you want to get that in as soon as possible. And this way you get proper service quickly.
All right, now let's talk specifically about your job, and that is, if I'm a homeowner, I have storm damage, how can I tell that my claims adjuster is doing right by me, is taking the right steps for me? What should I be looking for?
Well, the first thing we like to do is make immediate contact. So when I receive a claim, I call you immediately. I try to schedule it the very next day if you're available. If not, the next possible day that you're available. We like to be proactive. We want to make sure that, if you call, you send an email, we're on top of that. We're here to help you, and that's really what it's about. The better service we give you, the happier you will be, and then you'll tell your friends about us, and they'll want to be insured with us as well.
Good way to stay in business.
Absolutely.
Now, when there is storm damage, obviously the timing can be difficult for somebody in your role because you're getting all kinds of calls. So let's talk about whether it's patience or being aware of the timing when it's a homeowner. What should I expect if I know there are a lot of claims being made?
As far as what to expect in that type of a situation, everyone is busy, but everyone's also important. So I'm going to do my best. If you call me and you don't reach me, I will definitely call you back that day or the very next morning. And, we all have busy schedules. We're all out looking at claims. So I try to be proactive, and time management is a skill that is very important in this business, so that I am up on my claims and my insureds are being taken care of.
You touched on some of this, but take me through some of the steps once the damage is assessed, the steps through getting your home repaired. What are the steps a homeowner takes?
Well, if you call the insurance company immediately, we can get somebody out there. So if you have soot from a fire, we can have someone start to clean that up. If you have water damage, we can send out one of our companies that can dry that up for you. All these companies are vetted, they're licensed, they're insured, they're going to take good care of you. They're going to get out there as soon as possible. And the most important part about that is that if there's any limitations to your policy and you use one of our preferred vendors, those limitations don't necessarily come into play. You also don't have to worry about any out-of-pocket expense. That's crucial, because who wants to start laying out even more money in these type of situations? So basically, if you call us right after that happens, we can help you out and get the ball rolling.
All right, here we go with the beginning of hurricane season coming. Some steps homeowners should take now. You talked about assessing your home beforehand. I also want to talk about that photo inventory. Is that an important thing for a homeowner to do?
It can be, and sometimes it can't. As far as, if you have a total loss, or like the roof gets ripped off and your home is destroyed or everything's all wet, try going through all that now. That can be difficult. So it's not a bad idea to photograph your home. It's not a bad idea to do a quick video walkthrough. Everybody's got video on their phone. It's just a lot easier to see what's in your home, so that should something bad happen during one of these hurricanes, you've got a better assessment on what's happening in your home, and less chance you'll forget something because it may not be visible at the time of the storm.
As we close here, I just want to wish you a very quiet hurricane season.
We would appreciate that.
Yes, for all of us. All right. Scott Nathan of Florida Peninsula Insurance, thank you for going on the record. We'll be right back.
WPBF 25 first warning weather certified most accurate for 11 years.
Welcome back to Sunday with a chance of winning. Final question. Which one of these benefits can you receive every year if you enroll with HealthSun?
Is it $5,000 for comprehensive dental services? $2,400 for groceries, home and pet care supplies and utilities? $1,500 for OTC items, or all of the above?
Cindy?
D, all of them!
Your health deserves a 5-star plan. Call us today.
Meet the future. A chef, a designer, and an engineer. All learning to save and spend their money with Chase. The chef's cooking up first with her new debit card.
Hungry?
Uh-huh. The designer's eyeing sequins, plaid. While mom is eyeing his spending. Nice. And the engineer? She's taking control with her own account for college. 3 futures, all with Chase. Freedom for kids, control for parents. One bank for both. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Wow, this is gorgeous.
Beautiful, isn't it?
I think I'm in love.
You got that right.
You talk about Beauty and the Beast.
Tough, durable, and makes every head spin when they see it.
This is the best floor I've ever seen. Who did this for you?
Ox Floors. Fast and affordable. And I could use my floors the same day. Hey, I bet they'll give you a deal too.
Call now to get 30% off. Also great for patios, pool decks, driveways, and more. Ox Floors. Strong like an ox, guaranteed.
Bad boy mowers aren't built for everyone. They're built for the bold, the originals, people who get the job done and love every second of it. Bad boys are built for horsepower and cutting-edge precision with a first-of-its-kind 3-link suspension and a style all their own. Because you're not everyone, and that's a good thing. Bad boy, mow with an attitude.
It started. It's the side hug. Tween milestones like this may start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then, too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for others, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Welcome.
Hi. Now, as the dad cab, it's my cue to help protect them.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next. Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination.
Hopefully some relief in sight when it comes to the insurance crisis here in Florida. Thank you so much for making us a part of your morning.
And as always, we encourage you to be part of our discussion each and every Sunday right here at 10 a.m. Until the next time, you can watch This Morning's On the Record and every episode on our website. That's WPBF.com and our free WPBF 25 News app. Matter of Fact with Soda and O'Brien is next. I hope you have a great Sunday. We'll see you again next week.